Alright, hello everyone. I'm gonna go through and tell you in retrospect a little bit more about my intuitive abstract painting process. So I started out with a flat, old, dingy paintbrush. It's probably used to paint walls traditionally, but it's super dingy, super old, which means it's great for texture. So I just want to fill the page and create texture so I can start to let my imagination just run a little and start to imagine where the shapes will take place, the forms, what the landscape's going to be. I wanted to add just a little bit more horizontal lines too to kind of figure out my land. And I added some water too to just kind of create a different texture that kind of added a little bit more contrast to the dry brush look, which I really ended up liking actually. It gave just softer tone to it since the dry brush is like nice and hard. So here I'm just scratching a little bit into it to, again, create a little bit more texture. Totally intuitive though, so really just kind of go with whatever you feel. I created this figure, I actually drew it during my class in my notebook for learning a little bit more about the history of language and the history of writings, which is super interesting. So I guess I was inspired after that. I'm not sure if it means anything, but it would be really cool if it did. So hopefully it means something good if it did mean something. But I really just think it was something that I just wanted to sketch out, inspired by learning about those different figures and formations. It's nice and balanced. It almost looks space-like to me now, looking back and just knowing what the painting turned out like. So here I used a fluffier brush. I just wanted to give like a little bit of a softer tone to everything. I wanted to give it more of like a dreamlike tone, which I feel like when you use like a softer brush, it almost is like clouds, like you feel like you're in the clouds. But really too, it's just adding more layers. When you're painting like an intuitive landscape scene, or at least when I do, I feel like just adding layers and layers is just how you can just get lost in the painting and you can really start to see what it wants to be. I skipped over this, but I added a nice smooth textured cream circle, which kind of reminds me of a planet. I don't know, I guess I was feeling spacey when I was doing this. And then the brown kind of adds a nice middle ground. So there's black and there's all these nudes and neutrals, and I think the brown just adds a nice middle texture, or middle color. And it kind of adds a little bit of like a purpley hue too, and it mixes with everything. So it's nice when the colors you choose mix and add unexpected colors. In the bottom left corner, I really like how it almost looked like a reflective pond. I'm not sure if it stays that way throughout, but that's kind of what I was thinking when I was doing it, that it just looks very like water-like and very, very relaxing to look at. But when you're doing this, you just really want to let go and let whatever needs to come out. It's good to have a little bit of a knowledge of the basic principles and elements of design, so you can kind of have a more trained eye as you let go, and it can just take the wheel. But that's definitely how it's the most cathartic, is when you're letting go. And then here I'm just kind of adding a little bit more texture, balancing things out by taking that cream color from the half circle and adding it throughout. And just kind of filling in the white spaces a little bit, although I really do enjoy leaving some white space and showing the cold press texture of the paper underneath. I recommend using a thicker paper. I like to use the Arches cold press. It holds the paint really nicely. And then I'm just kind of going over the black lines and taking away the starkness of some of them, so that, again, they can add depth. Some of them look a little bit like they're receding into space, and then there's that one super prominent line that looks like it's coming forward. And so at this point, you kind of have your scene laid out, and you're just like adding layers to it. So you really get to imagine you're in this place, wherever it is. I've heard it kind of, I personally think it looks very spacey, but some people have said that it also looks like a little bit archaic, like a cave drawing. So I guess it kind of depends on your perspective. But you're in this space that you created, and you're just adding layers, and you're adding different elements to make it look like you're looking into a scene, looking into a place. And it's also a little unexpected too. I don't know if I brought this up, whenever your colors mix together and make other nice and complementary shades and tints that look nice with the rest of the piece. I've really been enjoying this fluffy brush. I feel like it adds a lot of good texture, especially when you use it dry. So kind of after things have dried a little bit, but they're still malleable, you can go over it and use that dry fluffy brush and just kind of spread it around and move it really kind of chaotically, and just move it around the page to add a little bit of depth and softness. So at the bottom, you know, I wanted to kind of just make everything a little bit softer. We really want to focus on the middle of the painting. So that's why I'm going over it here and just kind of using it flatly as it's dry to kind of drag out some of those colors and blend them a little bit more, and also to kind of create a sense that there's land there in the middle left side of the painting, kind of dragging out that brown color while there's still a little bit of the cream on the top of the brush, creates a sense that there's some kind of land there. Here I'm adding a little bit of like a reddish orange hue, which I love. So weird. I feel like it looks so good against like that like peachy, pinky color that I've been really in love with lately. But it looks good against that. So I just wanted to add some elements of that to really balance the painting. So there's so much dark on that side, and then there's dark on the right side, which it's nice and balanced, but I really wanted to create even more of a focal point there. So yeah, that's a little bit more about my intuitive abstract painting process. Definitely it's better to just let it flow, you know, to not think as much as possible. But yeah, I hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope that you choose to try an intuitive abstract painting of your own. Remember to just let it flow and you know, do whatever feels good to you. It's a very cathartic process. I'm extremely grateful that I found it. It's a newer style for me. I was doing a little bit more of a realistic style before and kind of trying to improve at that. But this has been just so healing for me. It's a really good way to use art as therapy. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time.